To be or not to be? That is the question. Yes, I quote William Shakespeare today because almost all single mothers have visited this precarious path, this situation, this emotion, and this question at least once in their lifetime. I, Arunima Sinha, another single mother, wish to share my opinions of how do single mothers thrive in their lifetimes. By choice, by destiny, by situation, when we become single mothers, it is a challenge that we accept, right? In fact, when I was on the edge, on the path of accepting that I'm a failure and I have no voice, I realized that I was exceptional when I actually became a single mother. By divorce or by losing your spouse or by actually realizing that you are the only one who has to take charge of your child, you accept a challenge for a lifetime of mothering a child or children throughout the life. And believe me, it's not an easy task, as it seems like for the rest of the world. However, the way out of the pain is the way through the pain. The first thing I believe we must and we all must do is to shed the unnecessary load. Yes, to shed the unnecessary load, which is absolutely not required. And these loads are primarily two. One of them is the load of the past, the load of the past wherein we see ourselves as this helpless creature who could not do things. However, I believe and I ask you to look again and to see, to change the narrative. You may have been shocked. May have been just, playing the role of a good girl, or it was just by accident that you landed here. However, knitting back into the past is not going to create a bright future. So practically, we all need to decide and realize that we need to get less hurt by our hurtful past. Yet another, choice we need to make to get rid of another level of, weight is the weight of people's judgment on us. It was her fault. It is her decision. Why doesn't she get married again? All those things. Believe me, I'm sure it sounds very easy, but believe me, through practice it comes. Because I have been on that path and I wouldn't say I'm 100% off, but yes. So by choice, one may actually walk the path of freedom, of independence, of what others think about you. You may need to cry over it. You may need to meditate. You may need, endearing company. You may need counselors. You may need healing. But there is always a path available if you look for it. So let's shed the weight. After that, I would say, in shedding your weight, in shedding this kind of, all the problematic things in your life, one big catalyst is self-love. Everyone is talking about it, self-love, selfish. What is it? Is it just remaking yourself, getting a straightened hair and, or going to the parlor more number of times? It's not just that. Of course, it may be that as well, but it's not just that. At the point of time, the entire world was judging me. In fact, my closest relatives were making fun of me and talking to me in a way which was not acceptable and telling me, no, this is not done. Why are you doing this? Why are you publishing your songs on the social media? Every day you're publishing a song, a karaoke song. Or why are you writing emotional poems? And if you're writing them, why are you publishing them on social media? I utilized both my ears then. So I used one ear to take in the information, and I did not allow the information to go to the mind or to my heart. And I utilized the other ear to let out the information and the opinion. So basically, I learned how to be thick skinned. Of course, people's judgment are not going to help me. What is going to help me is self-love. I needed to feel loved. At the point of time, I could have lost myself to loneliness. I loved myself. I gave myself that amount of love that was required. And of course, I cannot forget those people who gave me that much love. My parents, my siblings, my friends, my closest of friends, they did not judge me then. But of course, self-love is even more important than family and friends' love. After you've walked this path and you've made a very strong foundation, because a strong edifice needs a strong foundation, and you are the foundation. Only a happy mother can bring about a happy child. So once you have walked that path, the next thing that you need to do is balance, budget, bargain, and backup. Yes. What do you balance, budget, bargain, and backup? Time, money, resources, energy, power, your mood, all these things need to be balanced. You need to have backup. And I would suggest, as I did myself, maybe a pen and paper can be sought and things can be written down. What is actually extracting more energy out of you? Or where is the money going? So maybe mechanically sitting up with plans may help, the rest of our lives. And the final thing that we come, when we talk about single motherhood is parenting. And I would say the first rule of parenting is to set rules. To set rules, how to set rules. So, in communion with your own children, okay, you have to sit down and maybe even write down or maybe just verbally talk about it. What is acceptable and what is unacceptable? What is acceptable? Which kind of a language are you supposed to be speaking? Are you supposed to be speaking in a certain tone or not? The one who shouts first is the one who's going to say sorry first. If someone has done something wrong, that person is going to fill all the bottles at night. And on a regular basis, maybe who is going to sleep beside the mother? All these things, from the smallest to the biggest, rules can be made and they can bring about so much clarity in life. Apart from that, one thing I found out personally in my life, that creativity, creative actions, creative activities really help children a lot. And how do they do that? It brings about this kind of leadership inside them, this feeling of self-worth. I personally seen in my children, they feel they can solve problems, problem solving, critical thinking. A lot of talents are developed through, creativity. Of course, a byproduct is also cleaning up the mess after it's done. And in my house, it's almost there. It's almost always there. But when I see the result and the consequences that are there in the personality building of my children, I really vouch for it. Creative activities are a must for children, whether it be painting, whether it be playing guitar, or whether it be cutting pieces of paper to make something. I think creative activities are a must. But something even more important than this is expressing love to your children. And we all will say, oh, my children, I'm sure they know how much I love them. I have given up this for them. I gave up that job, that career. But they would not want to listen to your lectures. They would personally want to experience it. And how do they experience? Maybe through your, verbal acceptance, maybe through the way you look at them, maybe through the thoughtful gifts you buy for them, little gifts. So love has to be expressed. When I have been back to back busy for a few days, and then I look at my children and they're still playing amongst themselves, not asking for my, attention. I tell them, oh God, I forgot to tell you something. You have to listen to me. I have two sons, one is 8, the other one is 6. And then they'll be really excited. Mama has to say something. And then I tell them that there is this big secret I have to share. And then what is that big secret? That big secret is that I love you a lot. I love you infinity. Then I cuddle them a lot. Then I, maybe, get them into laughing, crack jokes, maybe tickle them. So you have to find out time to express love. And it's, appears really obvious, but it is not that obvious. They do not understand it only because they are your children. You have to express it. And something even more important is, communicating. Of course, you've expressed your love and, you've set rules and everything and you've made them creative. One thing very important is communication, general communication. General communication is not always about, talking about things that they really love. Of course, that includes that as well. If there are caregivers, you also need to know if the caregivers are actually doing their duties well. That is to ask from them without obviously criticizing the caregivers. And on a normal basis, what are the things that they are doing in class? If they want to tell you a story which they find as funny, please laugh along with them. And so, all possible forms of communication wherein they feel they are able to let out something to you, those things are supposed to be done. Last but not the least, I really, urge parents, almost all the guardians, I've seen a lot of parents do not realize this idea that, we need to say thank you and sorry to our children as well. A lot of parents have this air inside them. I'm the parent. Please don't carry that air, and especially not as a single mother, because you are building up a house along with the kids. Okay. And I would urge any parent not to take that stand. Because children, you teach them the 10 commandments at night, they will not remember the next morning. But you just give them one instance, 5 seconds of anger, and they love it. They'll learn it so quickly. They'll think that this is the ideal thing to do. My mother is doing it. So please say thank you as well as sorry, and accept the biggest mistakes that you've made. Accept when you go wrong. They will learn how to be humble. And I would finally like to, rest, my speech by speaking out a few lines of my own poetry. Not you, not just you survive with discontent. Every particle that was God made has to showcase strength. If spring shows up duly in spite of winter, be fortitude incarnate if trial lingers. God trusts us with yardstick befitting soon or late. They also serve, only stand and wait. Thank you.